What's up, y'all? So today we will go into the Valley episode that aired last night. I'm kind of going to touch on what ended last week when it came on to Jax of it all. Jax, I don't know. I don't feel like he is really seeking help. I feel like what Brittany is saying is that he knows that they're filming, and in order for it to look good for the audience, he pretty much now wants to seek help. And I have been watching Jax from Vanderpump Rules come straight up. This dude does not take accountability. He loves to go on camera and he loves to say that, oh, he apologizes and he wants to seek help and all of the above. Know that, okay, maybe because he has a child now, he actually wants to take accountability. But the fact of the matter is, I just do not believe anything that comes out of his mouth. I do not believe any of his actions because I think everything he does is just playing up for the cameras. I remember specifically when it was during Scandival how he pretty much acts as if like he is the now reformed Jax, and how Tom Sandoval was pretty much the scum of the earth and how he didn't want him at his wedding and all of the above. And for it to be where you're pretty much the same Jax once cameras came back around, it just shows that you literally made no changes in your life. You took no accountability. And for you to now come now saying that you're trying to go to rehab or treatment center, it's just, I don't feel it. And I actually enjoyed this episode without Jax. It's just to show you that the show can go on without Jax. We do not need Jax on the show for this show to be a success, because I was heavily entertained throughout this episode and I didn't really remember that he was not even there on the screen. So we kind of touched on where we saw Luke. We saw he went over to Danny's place, and this is where we had Danny who said to him that in the boys chat, which again, I don't know why grown men at that particular age are in a group, or a group basically, boys chats. Married, grown men in a boys chat group, and it doesn't seem like they're talking anything productive in that group. So I don't understand the reason for why these men are even in this such group. No, we saw where Luke went over. They were discussing stuff, and I think this is where we had where we saw where Danny decided to tell Luke that apparently Jesse stated in the group that Michelle, he doesn't know how Michelle is paying for her house, and allegedly she is basically sleeping with a billionaire for $1,500 a night in order, I guess, to cover her expenses. Now, of course, we found out later on that was supposedly a test, but we saw where Luke pretty much obviously shared it with Brittany, and of course, Kristen was there because they were all getting ready to go to Janet's party. Now, we saw where Jesse is also planning a Santa Barbara, I believe it was, trip for the group. And he's even going as far as to invite his ex-wife, and he's even her new boyfriend. For this situation, I'm so sorry, but I don't feel any empathy or sympathy or anything when it comes on to Michelle. I feel like there is some sinister thing about her, and because persons, which I'm not saying Jesse is a saint, but I think for her, she knows that persons dislike Jesse, and I think she plays into that more because she's a female and she's trying to come off as if like she is so innocent when she has done some shady shit, which it just unfolds in this episode when they were discussing the whole her and the trainer, and we saw the flashbacks of when she was doing her hike. She's in a full face of makeup. They're talking about this sauce where apparently it looks like the guy is the one who makes the sauce or something or the other. So it just seems like she keeps on having more and more stuff coming out more about her, which does not put her in a good light. And I think that's what I'm picking up on when I see Michelle. Like, I do not get any emotion from her. Maybe she's just one of those persons who have a very monotone vibe. But I don't get anything from her. And even in the further in the episode, it was like, what are you doing? It did just not make no sense. Of course, while planning the trip, he enlists Kristen to help him with planning the trip. And we saw where at that same time, this is where we had Janet coming back around to invite Kristen to her birthday party. Again, Janet seems like she saw herself in the first season. She thought she was going to win over the audience by going against Kristen because persons always had this thing about Kristen being crazy. And when she literally got the edit of the villain and no one cared for her, I feel like she's coming on to this season now trying to rectify to win over the audience so she can hopefully be a fan favorite. And I'm so sorry. I see right through the bullshit. I do not feel any sort of genuineness when it comes on to Janet. When even she tried to apologize in the first episode, trying to pretend as if like, oh my God, you weren't supposed to be. But when she knew what she was doing when she did that podcast and stated what she stated, because again, she thought that she would have the sympathy and the backative basically from the audience when it came on to that, and she saw she did not get that, so she's coming on to this season now trying to rectify her edits or her how she came off in the first season. The apology did not work out, and she's trying again to come again by inviting Kristen to her birthday party, hoping that she can show that she has been extending the olive branch many times to Kristen, and Kristen did not bite. And basically, she is such a good person. And she inviting Kristen. I'm happy that Kristen decided to go, because I'm sure if she did not go, she would have made a next bigger deal that she tried to make it amends with Kristen, and she chose not to. But I am liking the fact that Kristen is not necessarily taking the bait of her trying to gaslight her into thinking that how she acts last year was totally fine, and then trying to put the blame on Zach to make it seem as if the reason why she behaved or moved certain ways is because of Zach, and Kristen just happened to be collateral damage. Life does not work that way, Janet. You have to take accountability for what you did. Maybe what we saw in season 1 is the true reflection of who you are. So for you to try and edit yourself this season, it's not going how I think you thought it would go. And I'm glad that I'm hoping to see how this progresses in the season, but you are just moving a little bit like, oh my God, I was hated last year and I need to try to get more love this year. And I just want you to be who you are. If you are just a bitch or if you're just a villain in real life, just own it. But do not try now to edit yourself or try to come off as if like you're such a good person because you did not like yourself last year, how you looked. And you blamed a lot on it being pregnant, and persons cannot step to you because you were pregnant. And I guess maybe because you're not pregnant now, you don't have an excuse for why persons now can't say certain stuff to you. So now you're trying to make yourself seem like the better person. And we will see how long that lasts, because eventually everyone shows their true colors, and she may go back to who her true color is. Now, the birthday of it all at Dave and Buster's. Now, interesting environment for a birthday gathering. The ladies came, the guys came, and of course, we found out this is when Brittany decided to break the news, which I don't know why, but I just feel like the producers told her that, look, with this birthday party, probably won't make the edit. It's quite boring. Let's just let Michelle know what Jesse said so we can have some sort of drama for this event. And of course, this is where Brittany decided to break the news to Michelle to let her know that Jesse stated in the boys chat group that allegedly she has been sleeping with a billionaire for $1,500 a night, pretty much calling his ex-wife, soon-to-be ex-wife, a hooker. And that's how she's paying for her lifestyle. And of course, she has a boyfriend who is currently there who gives me the creeps. But that's another story. But we saw where she basically stated that she started getting very emotional about the fact that she can't believe that Jesse is saying this, and this is why she wants to be divorced from him. And I felt nothing. The same way when she started speaking to her boyfriend and he just said, "Why do you care?" And just all of a sudden she was just okay. And then she started to walk around trying to get persons to boot Jesse off of the trip that he planned and boot him out of the house that he paid for, or production paid for him to go into a hotel and everybody takes the house. And this is why it was just not authentic. Like at 1 minute you were so upset, you try to force your tears, and then your boyfriend says one thing to you, and all of a sudden, no, you're just happy go lucky, and you just came up with this thing where let me go ahead and just ask everybody to vote and voting Jesse out. And it just did not make any sense to me. I was really confused. I'm glad that persons did not necessarily fully side with her. And I guess that got her more emotional because she thought everybody was going to side with her. And then for her to turn around and say that, oh my God, I can't believe that these persons are not having sympathy for me, but they're doing it for Brittany, and Jesse's way worse than Jax. Could be. But what we're seeing on our screens, I will say Jax is a bit more worse than Jesse. But I'm not behind closed doors to know what's really going on between you all too. But for you to try to then, you just gave me like Sheena when it came on to the whole Ariana and Tom thing where she wants everybody to look at me, look at me. And for you to do this at this girl's birthday party where you made it all about yourself, you wanted to go around to vote someone out of their own trip that they planned, made no fucking sense to me. But of course, that's Michelle. She makes no fucking sense. But I don't know, guys. I'm loving the season so far. I'm hearing that allegedly the reunion should be filmed this Friday, so thankfully we'll be having a reunion for this season. But I actually enjoyed the episode. I can't wait to see what next week's episode brings. Let me know, guys, in the comment section what your thoughts were on the episode, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye, y'all.